You already know how a for loop works. But what happens when one loop needs to run inside another loop? That's called a nested loop. In our last lesson, we learned how a for loop can repeat an instruction. For example, this loop prints hello 3 times. But what if we want 3 rows with 3 stars in every row? We need one repetition inside another repetition. Think about a classroom. We have several rows, and every row contains several seats. Nested loops work in a similar way. We can solve this using a nested loop. One for loop is placed inside another for loop. The outer loop is the first for loop. Here, it runs 3 times, so you can think of it as controlling 3 rows. Now look at the output. The outer loop runs 3 times and the inner loop runs 3 times for each one. So 3 times 3 gives us 9 stars. Look at the output. The star is printed 9 times because the inner loop runs 3 times for each of the 3 outer loop repetitions. We can use end equals empty quotes to keep the stars on the same line. This helps us create a proper pattern. Now look at the result. The inner loop creates 3 stars on each row, and the outer loop repeats that row 3 times. That's our 3 by 3 pattern. Remember this simple rule. The outer loop controls the rows, and the inner loop controls what happens inside each row. Now let's make the pattern wider. We change the inner loop to range 5, so it creates 5 stars in each row. And here's the result. We have 3 rows, 5 stars in every row. So the outer loop controls 3 rows and the inner loop creates 5 stars. Be careful with indentation. The inner loop must be indented so Python knows that it belongs inside the outer loop. Your turn. Look carefully. How many rows will it create and how many stars will be in each row? Correct. The outer loop runs 2 times, so we get 2 rows. The inner loop runs 4 times, so we get 4 stars in each row. Let's recap. A nested loop means one loop inside another. The outer loop controls the rows, and the inner loop controls the repeated items inside each row. Great job! You now understand nested loops. In our next lesson, we'll learn while loops. Like, subscribe, and keep coding with Taj Coding World.